Harry sat down in Jordan for a 2-minute interview about the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. 2 minutes. That's all. He had one of the most recognizable names on the planet, a platform most activists would give anything for, and a real opportunity to say something that mattered. But before Harry utters a single syllable, before his mouth even opens, his body has already made a confession. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Welcome back, my Royal Rogues. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. Let's get down to it. The very first thing you notice in the literal first frames of this interview is Harry's face. And what you're looking at is not a composed, confident man preparing to address a global crisis. What you're looking at is someone who does not want to be there. He's looking up, not at the interviewer, not at the camera, but up, as if the ceiling holds some answer he desperately needs. Then his eyes close, not a normal blink, but a prolonged, deliberate eye closure. The kind the nervous system produces when it is trying to momentarily block out a threatening stimulus. When the brain decides it needs a fraction of a second away from what's in front of it. He takes a slow, deep breath. He swallows hard. His lips are being wetted, which is a classic anxiety signal. The body redirecting moisture as a self-conformed response, and his shoulders completely locked. Both of them pull up and in contracted, as if he's bracing for an impact that hasn't landed yet. The interviewer at this point is simply setting the scene. She is saying that Harry is here because he doesn't wish to discuss his family, his uncle, what is happening back in London. He is here for the WHO and for Gaza. He hasn't even asked him a question yet. Harry is already in full physiological stress response. So we get Harry's full face on camera finally, and what we see is what I call his signature expression, the deer in headlights stare, that wide, frozen, slightly glazed look that we have unfortunately seen many times over the years. Both shoulders are still contracted, pulled up towards his ears. He's looking to his left at Dr. Tedros, the WHO Director General, and not at the interviewer who just spoke to him. He's seeking reassurance from a friendly face before he even has to answer. Notice his head position as well. His chin is pulled back, creating that retracted posture. When we pull our heads backward like that, it signals retreat. Physical retreat while sitting still. The body is communicating that what the mind is trying not to show. I would rather not be here. And then Harry makes a visible, deliberate effort to compose himself. The shoulders finally drop. He exhales. He wets his lips one more time. And this is the physical equivalent of someone collecting themselves before stepping onto a stage. He has still not said a word. So Harry begins to speak, and the moment he does, something very telling starts. Rocking, a subtle, rhythmic, back and forth rocking motion. That's a self-soothing behavior. It's one of the easiest conform mechanisms human beings develop. Infants do it. Anxious adults do it as well. And that is when the nervous system needs a rhythm to anchor itself under stress. The body creates one anchor. He is also bouncing his attention between the interviewer and Dr. Tedros on his left, then forward, then left again, still looking for reassurance, still not settled even as he is speaking. Now, here's where I have to add something, because this is not just a body language story. The words are telling us the same story the body is telling us.
I think, having spoken to Dr. Tedros, I think the work's been going on for decades. I think the world should be incredibly grateful. I think it's important for everybody. I think the entire world has spoken up, and so I think it was a really important. I think again the world has spoken many times. So I think yes.
I went through the transcript of this entire 2-minute interview, and Harry says the words "I think" 8 times. 8 in under 2 minutes. I think, having spoken to Dr. Tedros, I think the world's been going on for decades. I think the world should be incredibly grateful. I think it's important for everybody. I think the entire world has spoken, and so on. No, I think it's not inherently a red flag. We all use it. But when every major claim you make is preloaded with "I think," it is the verbal equivalent of a shoulder shrug. It is hedge after hedge after hedge. It is the language of someone who does not trust their own position, who is not sure of the facts, who is building an escape hatch into every sentence in case they are challenged. And the content of those sentences? Well, listen to this. He's talking about one of the most severe humanitarian crises in recent memory. He's talking about children being evacuated from hospitals, about an entire region being cut off from food and medicine. And Harry's contribution is this.
There's a lot of stuff in the news. It goes at an incredible pace.
There's a lot of stuff in the news. There's a lot of stuff in the news. Diana once said that Harry was, let's say, not the fastest learner. I am not here to pile on, but if you were writing a script specifically designed to prove that point on camera, you would struggle to do a better job than Harry just did for himself. But right after Harry says, spoken up that there's a lot of stuff in the news, something escapes him that he clearly did not intend. A laugh. A brief, involuntary, nervous laugh. Just a fraction of a second. That exhale chuckle that happens when someone says something they immediately sense was wrong. Or when the gap between the gravity of a moment and the inadequacy of your response becomes too large to hold without some kind of pressure release. It is generally uncomfortable to watch. And then watch what happens when he says, and it drops out of the news. He shrugs, a full bilateral shoulder shrug, the universal gesture that communicates, "What can you do about this?" That is called an illustrator gesture, a gesture that physically amplifies the spoken meaning. He is describing the disappearance of a humanitarian catastrophe from public attention as something that just happens, as if it was the weather. His body has told us exactly how much this crisis weighs on him. Now we arrive at the moment I found most remarkable from a pure body language standpoint. Harry is trying to say the words, "very real humanitarian catastrophe." Watch his eyes. In less than half a second, he blinks approximately 7 times. 7 blinks.
Time for us to collaborate and come here and shine a light and focus on the very real humanitarian catastrophe that has happened and continues.
That flutter, that rapid, involuntary blink and surge is a well-documented anxiety response. Blinking is a neurological reset. When the blink rate spikes that dramatically, it is a direct signal that cognitive load has spiked with it. His brain is under strain trying to get those words out. For what it's worth, humanitarian catastrophe is not the easiest phrase. I will admit that right now. English is my second language, and even I have to focus. But Harry grew up speaking English, and he is still burning processing power just to reach the end of that sentence. At 1 minute and 34 seconds, right after that has happened and continues, he presses his lips together tightly. A lip press is suppression. Something wants to surface, an emotion, an impulse, maybe just the desperate wish to be done, and he's physically holding it down behind his lips. And when he begins again, the shoulders tighten one more time. The rocking resumes, and he's still managing himself all the way to the final sentence. And then just past 2 minutes, it is over. He says goodbye to Dr. Tedros, and that is that. 2 minutes. One very important subject. 8 I thinks. 1 nervous laugh. A shrug over the suffering of an entire region. Rapid blinking, just trying to reach the end of a sentence. A man who spent the entirety of those 2 minutes managing his own nervous system while the world was watching. Yeah. Harry has one of the largest platforms of anyone alive. The chair he was sitting in was real. The crisis he was asked about is real, and what he brought to that moment, you just watch it. Was this nerves? Is this someone who generally cares but struggles under pressure? Or is this exactly as empty as it looked? Let me know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. Much love and bliss.